Deep in Belize's lush forests and winding rivers lies mystery, danger, and stories rarely told. Today on the Beardman channel, we shine light on one such story: the disappearance of Kevin Carcamo, a respected man and public figure, last seen in the dense bush around the Sibun River area. Who was he? What happened to him? And how has this case haunted his family and community for years? Let's retrace the path, examine the clues, and ask, could justice or closure still be possible? First, some background on who Kevin Carcamo was and the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. Kevin Carcamo was about 43 years old in 2014. He was a community leader, the chairman of Hattieville Village, and also worked as a linesman for the geophysical company Discoverseis Geophysical Services. His role with Discoverseis involved working on seismic survey lines, often in remote forested terrain, to assist in exploration and geological studies. By all accounts, Kevin was known as capable in the bush, comfortable in dense terrain, and someone who took on responsibility in his community. On Sunday, July 20th, 2014, Kevin left early in the morning from his home in Hattieville to go to work with his crew. He and several others were dropped off around Freetown, Sibun, to work on a survey line south of that area. At that point, no one suspected that day would become a nightmare for his family. As the day progressed, Kevin and his crew carried out their work. But when evening fell, things began to unravel. According to company sources, the workday ended around mid to late afternoon. The crew would normally walk back to a spot where they could cross the Sibun River by boat to return. By about 5:30 p.m., when the group reached the sub-base in Hattieville, a head count was made, and Kevin was missing. They immediately organized a search party and returned toward the survey line, retracing steps under flashlight in the dark. The terrain was difficult: thick forest, rough ground, rivers, and undergrowth. Locals, the Belize Defense Force, BDF, police, the Coast Guard, and Discoverseis employees all joined the search. But initial efforts yielded no solid trace of Kevin's whereabouts. All that was known was that somewhere behind Freetown, Sibun, the trail went cold. Over the first several days, search parties covered more ground, used aerial canvassing, and even deployed divers into the Sibun River, thinking perhaps he fell or was carried by water. However, to date, no conclusive find, no body, no confirmed remains, no eyewitness account placing him beyond that search area. In the days following his disappearance, investigators hoped for clues. Some emerged, but each brought more questions than answers. One of the more striking discoveries: in a part of the search area, a branch or stick was found, believed by local searchers to have bloodstains. The Scenes of Crime unit was called in and swabbed that stick. Forensic tests confirmed traces of human blood. Additionally, a strand of hair was recovered. Because Kevin had dreadlocks, investigators considered the possibility that the hair came from him. To verify, the family agreed to submit blood samples from his children to allow comparative testing to see if the DNA matched the blood from the branch. Yet even with these findings, investigators could not conclusively prove that the traces belonged to Kevin. The tests were inconclusive. The link remained unconfirmed. In the interim, as days passed, searches were scaled back. The maintenance of daily operations, safety protocols, funding for large search parties, all created logistical and practical limits to how long a full-scale search could persist. Local and independent search parties also continued, often at their own expense, trying to comb through forgotten trails, riversides, and ridges. But the deeper the weeks passed, and then months, the colder the trail became. For Kevin's family, community, and investigators, the uncertainty was agonizing. Community members held vigils, prayed, and campaigned for renewed interest in the case. Discoverseis, his employer, announced a reward of 10,000 Belizean dollars for information leading to his safe return. They also supported aerial searches, provided manpower, and worked in coordination with law enforcement to maintain search efforts. But there were constraints. The remote terrain, dense foliage, rivers that shift with rains, and thick undergrowth all made searching extremely difficult. One theory suggests Kevin may have become disoriented, wandered off the path and succumbed to natural causes: injury, dehydration, exposure. Another possibility is foul play. Someone may have ambushed him, or someone familiar with the terrain may have intervened. Because none of these theories can be substantiated fully, they remain in the realm of speculation, but they speak to the anguish and uncertainty surrounding the case. As time stretched on, the case gradually faded from national headlines, but never from the hearts of those who loved Kevin. Over the years since, public awareness has waned. The case remains unsolved. Kevin Carcamo is still classified missing. Yet in cases like these, new leads can sometimes emerge. A witness recalling a detail, someone stumbling across something in the bush once thought long past, or forensic advances able to extract new data from old evidence. For the Carcamo family, each new year brings quiet hope that somewhere, someone knows something, and that someday there may be closure. The disappearance of Kevin Carcamo remains a haunting story in Belize's annals, one that speaks of what can happen when a person vanishes into the wild, and how the dense, untamed forest holds its secrets close. If you have any information, no matter how minor, reach out to Belize authorities, public tip lines, or local news agencies. You may help bring closure. If you enjoyed or were moved by this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the Beardman channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep the light shining in the darkness.